Hey, Bryce Tubbs here. Let's talk about how to manage a business while having a family and even having a job. So, very, very important. Many of you guys watching this video might still be in a job and you have like a family. Maybe you have like one kid all the way up to, I think I had a student in the mentorship program who had six kids, a full-time job, um, and they were kind of going through like a yeah, different process with their family at that moment in time. So, let's kind of break that down. So, there's three aspects of managing a business when you have a family and you don't really have a lot of free time. So three aspects: balance, calendar management, as well as business strategy and business perspective. So I'm going to kind of talk about it. As you guys can see, I mean, I'm in a different location. This is an old bed that my girlfriend used to use for her child. And we're going to kind of talk about the different stages that you need. Like, because sometimes you may have like different ages require different levels of involvement, right? Where it's like some people, if they don't really have family, they might think that, like just when the only time that things are hard is like when the kid is young. But it's like as they kind of get older, there's always new problems that kind of develop, right? So they might have like bullies in school, they might have like some learning challenges that you might need to go up to the school to be able to like actually go and intervene for them and to advocate for your child. In some cases, when they're in high school, they might be going through like emotional, social, different challenges. When they're in college, it might be like trying to find themselves, develop themselves. They might need more financial support. Just a lot of different things might be going on, especially so let's kind of talk about and break that down. So number one is really about like balance. So it's like when you're first starting your business, like there is a little bit of a sacrifice that has to be made, but it's not really the sacrifice in the way that people think because you're choosing which sacrifice you're doing. So some people like they choose to sacrifice the relationship with their kids while they go and build their business. Some people sacrifice their time. Some people sacrifice their money, right? So it really comes down to like what kind of sacrifice are you going to be willing to make in order to do it? Because it's like where much is given, something is asked for. The analogy I like to use, like there was this movie called Wonder Woman. It was Wonder Woman's, I think it was like 1984 or whatever, yeah. And there was this guy, he was a bad guy, and he basically had this stone where if you hold on to him and you hold on to the stone, you can make a wish. And it's whatever wish you wanted, but something had to be taken away. So the main woman, Wonder Woman, she basically wanted her ex-husband or ex-fiance back, but what it took away was her superpowers, right? So it's like that whenever something is given, something has to be taken, even if it's temporarily. So you have to just kind of like know that ahead of time. So generally, when it comes to balance, the first thing is you have to make sure that your family is on the same page. So you have to make sure that your family's on the same page, and that's from your partner all the way down to your children. Now your children, it's like it can be a little bit easier to a certain degree depending on how, like, if you can still maintain the time. It really comes down to how your partner feels about this. So I've had a lot of different partners over the span of the last 10 years. We've had some long-term partners actually, but it's more of like as you kind of are in different socioeconomic statuses, your partners will actually have a different view of the way that you do work and the importance of work in your life. And it's like not to like be mean or anything, but just like different levels expect different types of work or different types of things in their life in order for them to kind of be complete, be satisfied, and be happy with you. So having that conversation saying, hey, for my business, I need an extra, like 1 to 2 hours per day when I come home from work, I'm going to be working on my business. For your spouse, one problem that I used to have a lot of was, you're always working because it's like, I was working a job and I was starting a business. Of course, I was always working. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but my problem was I didn't have that conversation up front, right? I just didn't know that conversation was a thing because in my head, I really valued a lot of work because my biggest thing that I had was I was trying to save as much money as possible. And like so I could go full time in my business. But it's kind of like as you start, money no longer becomes an issue when you do have your business running. And even if you have your business like at 2 grand, 3 grand a month on top of what you're making at your job, now for a lot of people, that's a really good kind of income. If you do it for about a year, you've saved up about, 25, $30,000 additional inside your bank account. For a lot of people, it's a lot to get ahead, right? But it's like once you start getting that money, really balancing out your life with your time, your health, your fitness, your nutrition becomes very, very important to you. So it's like if you can tell people that it's just temporary, it makes things a lot easier because a lot of people, what it feels like, and this is for your spouse as well, even though like if you're working and you're trying to do stuff for your family, if you don't communicate with them how long this is going to be, they generally don't really understand. It's like the analogy I like to use for that is almost like imagine that you're swimming in a swimming pool and you can't see the other side. So you could be swimming in the ocean, you could be swimming in a kiddie pool. You don't know, but it's that uncertainty that causes people to freak out, to have problems, and to not be able to handle it. And remember, just because you're an entrepreneur, you're going through this journey, does not mean that your spouse, your partner is also on that journey too. So they might still be thinking like a regular person. They might still be thinking like how most people think. Most people think that the weekends are for only barbecuing. You end work at 4:30, 5 o'clock. You work as little as possible so you can enjoy your money, or you make money just to enjoy your money, or you make money and save your credit just so you can buy things with your credit, right? So it's like there's a lot of different thought processes that are kind of at play, and you need to have those conversations. Especially if it's a newer relationship and you don't haven't had those deep conversations yet, it's very important to have those conversations because let's say, for example, that maybe you've already had a successful business, but your lifestyle is just way different. Like for me, for example, I can choose the hours that I work for both businesses because number one, I have a lot of stuff outsourced and a lot of stuff is very systemized, but I still like to work and I like to improve at different hours of the night. So what I've kind of made my schedule is like right around like about 5 to about 6:30, I kind of end my day. And after that, between about 6:30 to about 8 o'clock is generally more of like family time or time that I've dedicated to be able to go for like a 2 hour walk, maybe a dance class with my partner, a date night. Maybe we go take the child out to a movie, et cetera, right? But after that time, I like to do a little bit of like learning work, right? So I don't necessarily have to do work for my business, but it's just more of like learning. So let's say I bought like a course. Let's say that I have like a big project, like a cleanup project or something that's due, or let's say that I have to go and review my staff accountants like well, not my staff, my sales reps. I have to review my sales reps like sales call. I like to do that at night because that's when I'm a little bit more creative. Or even like a video like this, I like to kind of like fit this in on like my free time. Like I have a little bit of free time right now, so that's kind of why I'm posting and making this video now. All that to say is, yeah, so it's like there has that conversation. Like I told, like, hey, I'm not working to get away from you. I'm working so I can get more time to be able to spend with you so that you, number one, don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about XYZ, and you don't ever have to worry about getting a job, right? So it's just like, we're doing this as a team. You have to make sure that they just understand like it's as a team. And then really having that boundary, like, okay, so what do you need from me in order to feel heard, loved, respected? And then this is kind of what my business will require because it's very similar to actually having another baby. Like whenever you're starting a business, it's very similar to having a baby. So some things that have helped me, number one, have to get everyone on the same page. Number two, do the client work after the kids go to sleep. That's a really big thing, especially if you're as soon as the children go to sleep, if you've already had like family time. So, oh, this is another thing. So rather than just having like time with their partner and then having time with their kid, if you can try and get like half and half, but like have like family time. So I actually split into three. So I split it like right before my the child comes home from school. Then I spend time with my girlfriend, and then the child comes home there, and generally I'll either go pick him up or like we'll go and like walk around the neighborhood, just me and the child, and just like develop that relationship. And that generally takes about 15, 30 minutes. Luckily for me, he gets tired when it comes to like walking and running. So we do like as a run rather than just as a walk. Cause if you're walking, they have a lot of energy. It's crazy. But if you start doing anything like physical activity, then they just get tired fast. Like, okay, we can go back home. And then from there, then we'll spend time like together. It's another like 30 minutes, like 45 minutes where we'll either go and like watch a movie or play like a board game. Lately, we've been playing a lot of board games. We have a hangman game. We don't really do a lot of Monopoly. Um, we do it sometimes. We do a game called, I think it's called Remy. It's an international game. It's like dominoes. Um, Another game, we play Sorry, we play Scrabble, we play Trouble's another one. There was another one, I think it was like Snakes and Ladder. That's an older game. But yeah, just different things. We don't do video games for the child yet. He has like computer games he'll play on his own time. We don't really do a lot of video games. We want to just haven't gotten to that age yet. Where video games we don't really want that to be the priority. So we do a lot of stuff like interactive together. Um, but yeah, but right around there is kind of like the amount of time that we spend together during the day. It's very like structured and organized. Not to say like you have to, you're only giving your girlfriend or your boyfriend like, or your husband or your wife like 2 hours. Like, it's not like it's regimented. It's like I have a very strong awareness of time, so I can kind of feel when it's like, okay, so this is running a little bit long, or we're kind of losing the value. Because a lot of people think that it's just the length of time is like what's important. It's not really the length of time, it's more of like the depth of time. It's the memories that are being created that really stands out to the child. And I distinctly remember that with my parents, right? Because it's just like it's kind of like most people have this, where if you're spending time with your children, it's like there's like this time of like law of diminishing returns, where it's like it's really good, it's good, it's good, it's good, and then just all of a sudden like it falls off a cliff, and it's just like, huh, this is no longer fun. This is no longer enjoyable. We're just kind of like going through the motions at this point. At that time, it's like, hey, why don't we go do something else? Maybe you need some more alone time. Maybe you need to go do this, right? And then we just kind of go our separate ways. So I've just kind of like understood exactly what those time points are, and then I'm able to kind of like leave when it's time to go move on to the next activity. So the next thing is, that's balance. Okay, that's just getting everybody in line. That's just making sure everyone kind of understands that you're not doing it because you don't love them. You're doing it because you do love them. Once you have that, and you just can kind of tell them, hey, we need to have put aside like 3 months, 6 months, where I can just do 6 months of just this very routine thing. It makes it very good and very easy, right? Because it's easy to get the children line, because you can just make it like a game, right? It's really your partner. Your partner is really the thing where it's like you have to make sure that even though the time that you might be spending with them is a little bit lower, the time you do spend needs to be more important. So next will come into calendar management. So make sure you're blocking off that family time. I put my family time on my calendar every single day. Okay. So yesterday, my girlfriend wanted to go out for a special dinner with one of her friends. And I put on the calendar on Monday. I put on the calendar Friday. I have to go from 6 p.m. to about 8 p.m. Me and the kid's name is Eric, right? We're going to go and see a movie, and like made sure nothing was overridden on that. It was control on the calendar, right? So we had complete control, and there was agreements ahead of time. So we just knew exactly what was going on, right? I know every single Wednesday I have a dance class between about 6 p.m. to about depending on the class, I want to stay like extra class tonight. It could be like going to 9 p.m. And we go and do that, right? On that Tuesday night, generally we have like a sitter that can come. I think on Tuesday nights we generally it's we kind of alternate between a sitter and like one of the children's like friends. They'll just go over to the friend's house for like 2 or 3 hours, and we pick them up after like the dance class. Um, yeah, because he's not really at the age where he likes doing like salsa dancing or like Latin dancing, but we both really like doing that. So that's one thing. Then date night is every single Wednesday night. Okay, date night is important, 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 important. Okay, I cannot stress that out enough. Even if it's not like a romantic date, just being able to spend some time, some uninterrupted time alone, where you can really just kind of get back into rhythm, get back into alignment, make sure everyone feels heard, make sure the relationship is getting deeper, make sure that you're moving forward, make sure that you're casting the vision for your family. That's incredibly important. So we started doing Wednesday because like Wednesday is just middle of the week. It's just a really kind of easy night, and there's a lot of events that kind of go on Wednesday. Sometimes there's like concerts, sometimes there's like dinner shows, sometimes there's like movies. Just a lot of variety you can do on a Wednesday night. Um, yeah. Next thing is yeah, I like going to the movies every Thursday night after our one of our like community coaching calls that we do on Thursday night around like 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I like to do a movie right around like 8:30 p.m. On Thursday. That generally lasts about an hour and a half. And that way, I kind of do with both my girlfriend, her son. I actually meet my parents at the movie theater, then I also meet my brothers. We just like have a long line of us kind of sitting and watch the movie, and it's just a chance for us to kind of reconnect, chance for us to, excuse me, decompress and relax in a very kind of like relaxed kind of manner. Um, Other thing, 30-minute power naps save lives. I don't know how to say it. 30-minute power naps save lives. For me, I can fall asleep very quickly. I've heard some people do power naps as short as like 10 minutes. I personally haven't been able to get down to 10 minutes and feel recharged and regenerated. But like for me, 30 minutes is generally my thing. So I know exactly when those nap times are. I know exactly like when I have to hit my times and when I have to kind of recharge. I personally don't drink any kind of like coffee. I might drink like a Diet Coke if I feel like super, super tired when I'm kind of out. Um, but yeah, I don't really have that. So like for me, sleep is very important. Sleep and eating healthy and making sure like I feel like very, very hydrated. So like right now, for example, I have like 2 water bottles sitting next to me that I have to kind of drink before the next hour is up. Because if I don't, I might start feeling tired. But it helps. Next is being able to wake up an hour earlier or go to bed an hour later. So one thing we're going to kind of talk about in a minute is like make sure like client work. I prefer, and this is hard for some people, do not do your client work as the first thing you do inside your business. Okay, that is a huge, huge, huge mistake. Do not do client work first. You need to do activities that grow your business first. That's whether that's prospecting, whether that's relationship building, whether that's consultation calls. You need to do those before you start doing your client work. Okay. A number of reasons why. It's just most people, if they put the prospecting and growing the business at the end of the day, it never happens. So you have to do it first so you make sure it happens. That's your priority, right? Because if you don't do that and you only have like one client and you're sticking with that one client and you never have time to go prospect or grow your business, you're never going to get past the stage you're at. So the whole purpose of this video is to show you how to get through that stage where you're kind of working two things and you're like a little bit cramped on time. I'm trying to get you out of that as fast as possible. Like that's the key because like it's cool to have like a side income and whatnot. And if you can manage that, it's good. But it kind of comes down to like this inflection point to where it's like, depending on how many hours you want to work, the age of your children, the age of your family, like it might not make sense to be doing everything on your own. And we'll talk about from a business perspective how to go buy back your time once you're at a certain income goal. But it's like if you want to be a solopreneur and do this only yourself and get to like 10K per month, you have to have a lot more control of your calendar. Yeah, waking up an hour earlier to do more of the outbound stuff, doing more of the automated marketing. I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you might not be inside of the mentorship program at this moment in time. If you are inside the mentorship program, go and look at all the videos that talk about like how to do marketing as well as the automation section so that you can save up a lot of your time. Because that's going to be very important for you. Mm-hmm. And make sure you defend your times. Defend your times, man. You got to start and end at the right times. Not let it slide. 'Cause if it slides, you don't get things done, and you're stuck in that situation for a lot longer than what you need to be. Next is a business perspective. So from a business perspective, when it comes to balancing, right? Number one, so workflows inside of your bookkeeping work are going to be incredibly important. We teach you guys how to do like workflows inside of the program. I think one of our students, the she had her workflows and automations down so tight that she was making 5 grand a month, working 5 hours per month. It was ridiculous, right? But it's like you can get down, like most people are not going to get to that level of automation or just that level of workflows. But if you can always go and drive that time down. Now, again, we teach you how to do that inside the program so you can make sure that you're able to work more, get more money without working as many hours. Now, another thing you can do is you can bring on a staff accountant. That's really going to be determined on like what is your income goal. So if your goal is just to make $2,000 to $3,000 per month, you generally would want to go and bring on like a staff accountant, which is about 25 to about 50% of your of the take home, right? So then in that case, if you're making what 3 grand a month, the thing max you'd want to do is like pay the person $1,500 per month. So really what you'd want to do is if your goal is 3 grand, you really want to get to about like $4,500 a month or 5 grand per month before you start bringing like a staff account. So you can make that amount of money. So, but once you do have that staff account, right, generally going to bring on a staff account because you're trying to grow the income even more. But if it's just like you want to kind of maintain at this point, you might even be able to go and get like another bookkeeping business owner, like a small bookkeeping business owner who's just getting started to be like, you're basically their client, right? Then they're going to put all their time, but they're not expecting for you to pay them $1 million, right? Because they're just going to be expecting you to be their client. So it does make things a lot easier in that regard. And it really, the amount of money you're trying to make will determine the speed with which you're going to bring that person on. And it also depends on your capacity and the amount of time, amount of energy you have, right? Because energy is a very important thing. Because just because you can work 1 million hours a day does not mean that you're like theoretically you can, but energy wise, like you might not be able to. I know for me, I generally have a lot of trouble working more than about like 10 hours per day. Like it's very, very tough for me. Especially like if you have to go do a bunch of things, you have to go pick up the kids, you have to go and cook the meals, you have to go run like a church organization, a PTA organization, right? That's very tough. You might not have that much energy. So you might want to build your business from the start with having like a staff accountant who can do the work. Now, the next thing you can do to kind of ease that burden is really get your marketing strategy in line. So your marketing strategy needs to be in line with it needs to reflect the amount of time that you have. So for students in the program, like especially if they have like a full-time job, they have kids, and they have like they're trying to start this business on the side, I always recommend they start with like partnerships, right? Because if you can get the right partnership, then that one unit of energy can turn into thousands of dollars. So for example, one of our students, um, actually I'll just do it because we had like one student, she had like 22 referrals sent to her in the span of like 60 days. And she closed 11 clients. It's just like that's not always typical. Like some like we do have a lot of students that do get like those asymmetric returns, but on average, like just think about it like this. So you put in 1 hour of relationship building, then you get on the phone with them for 15 minutes. A connection is built and a connection is established. And we give you like sales scripts of exactly what to say on those calls with the person. Just makes everything very, very easy. So then once you're able to kind of get on the phone with the person, they then refer their clients. Maybe they refer like 2 clients to you every single month, right? So over a span of a year, 2 clients times 12, 24 clients have been given to you. Let's say on the minimum end, they're paying you $500 per month. So 25 times 500, what is that? 25, oops, my calculator's out. 25 times 500 per month. That's about 12,500. And people are like, Bryce, how are you able to go get people up to, 10,000, $13,000 a month? Just like, it's not that we're doing anything magic. It's just we have very consistent KPIs we have to hit. And once we know how to hit those numbers for you in your particular situation, then it's just a matter of time. And you're automatically at your income goal with whatever you want to do. Like it's not, it's complex if you don't know what you're doing. It's very simple if you've done it, as many times as we've done it for both ourselves and for the other students inside of like a mentorship program. But yeah, but it's just like that's the easiest way for someone who's just getting started and doesn't have a lot of time. Now, over time, what you can do is you can actually start going and growing a business. So for me, what I started doing was I started turning on like an automated tool that automatically goes and starts building relationships for me. And I have like a team of like virtual assistants that will manage my accounts for me. And anytime I get a response or anytime we have to take something down our message sequence of exactly what to say, then the VA basically handles that conversation for me. So they just show up on my calendar, right? So it's very similar to like if I had already gotten a referral for someone else. It's just someone who just like popped up on my account. It's like, oh hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. And it's just like awesome. So it doesn't take a lot of time at all. It's just like just very consistent, very, very simple, right? But that does take some skill set as well. So it's like if you want help learn how to build this stuff, like we can help you inside the mentorship program. We only accept about 10 to 12 people per month at this moment in time because we want to make sure that we can dedicate a lot of support, resources, and time to you. Because I'd rather like help a few very, very deeply than help like a million people very shallowly. And I know that the longer we do that over time, the more people are able to impact and like really help in a deep kind of manner. So, I mean, if you want some help and you've been trying to grow this on your own, but it's just not quite working the way that you plan or envision, or you're even having trouble managing your time with your family, and you want to be able to go and grow it, make sure you can get to the point you want so you can reach your goal, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below. See if you qualify. See if we can actually help you inside the program. If we think it's a good fit, I'm going to give you an offer. You can then decide, hey, I want to do this right now. Yeah, and do your research before the call. Don't come on the call and like say, well, I haven't watched very many videos. I haven't done X, Y, Z. It's like do your research before the call. Like business owners, if you can't even do research about like the stuff you're thinking about to grow your business, you're not going to grow a business. It's how you approach one thing is how you approach everything. Like it's very consistent. I think we've been doing the mentorship program since like 2019. It's like all the people who kind of either give like a weird excuse or they just don't do homework ahead of time, you check up with them like 2 years later. It's like, oh, I'm still thinking about starting, or oh, I'm still trying to learn how to get. There's like that's how they're approaching life. Like you can't be approaching life in like a really kind of like half in, half out mode. If you're in something, do the stuff that you need to do ahead of time. If you're not in something, just don't even do it because you might as well just spend the time working with your family. Like I don't personally don't see the point of like saying that you're going to start a business but you're not really gonna start the business. Like start the business and get in the game so you can get your time back, or just don't even do it at all. Go spend it with your family, because that's what you're doing it for. In anyways, like your family, right? So know what's important to you. Do the things that you say you want to do. Go hard. Do the stuff that you can do, so you can do the stuff you want to do. Okay. So I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. See you in the call or see you in the next video. Take it easy.